So today I want to take you with me to a country that currently is going through its hardest time. I have spent over a month in Ukraine, and while I wasn't sure what to expect and if and how I even want to document it, I was interested. I've heard that it's possible to come, and so I arrived in Kyiv, and over the past weeks I ended up traveling all across the country. From the capital to all the way to the east, very close to the Frontline, the city of Kharkiv, and much more, to the coast, to the western cities that have been affected much less. And I've wanted to put together this video for you to shine a light on the ongoing conflict, to show you how people are not just surviving, but also living in many ways. And this video is also here to show you the beauty of this country. Obviously, it's going to be mostly places that luckily have been unaffected, that are mostly safe. But at the same time, I'm also going to dive deep into Kyiv, go to territories that have been occupied, especially in the beginning of the war, where you truly see the consequences of everything that happened and keeps happening. I'm going to leave timestamps for you for the different cities that I have visited. If you're interested in a particular part, it's going to be a long video. Join me on a full month in Ukraine. So I am at the main square of Kyiv, Ukraine right now, during the war, filming it as it started for already over 2.5 years. This is the Maidan. This is where the revolution happened in 2014, starting I think in November of 2013. This is what this, let's say, installation there is dedicated to. We have like a I Love Ukraine sign here, a memorial to the fallen soldiers. And I have to tell you, coming here, I had no idea really what to expect. The thing is, depending where you are, I want to also talk to you about a lot of people, especially on Instagram, been asking me, is it safe to come right now? Can you? And I want to talk about that as well. Like, obviously, tourism is nothing how it used to be here. So today, a very different vibe of my videos than it usually is. Share with you a little bit. The city of Kyiv itself is probably one of the safest places in the country. They have an air missile defense system. But while I was here, some things happened, starting from sometimes there's no electricity to sometimes you hear loud explosions a couple of blocks away. For me also in many ways it was important to shoot a bit of a video, give you an idea of the country, how it really is right now in different cities. As of right now, I've been already recording in the city of Kharkiv, which I'm telling you, when I told my mom I'm coming here and I'm going there, she was not happy about it, but so it's basically very, very close to the front line. Want to cover the neighboring town of Irpin and Bucha, where basically during the beginning of the invasion, that's where a lot of the major battles took place, and you still see it. So all of that you're going to see today, but let's start. Let me take you along on a bit of a tour through Kyiv. The sun will be slowly setting. This Maidan, the Independence Square. I took the metro to get here. And in many ways, when the war first kicked off, this is where people were looking for shelter. And I mean, on one side, the metro stations are absolutely beautiful. On the other side, especially when I just first arrived here, kind of like, you know, the things you saw on the news, to see them for real on the ground, very reminiscent of Second World War shots from like London when people were hiding in the metros underground. And yeah, let's go for a little bit of a walk to some of the main churches, some of the main cathedrals, because the beauty of Kyiv is here no matter what. Got a special guest joining for the video. Let's go. So this is Lisa over here, my local guide. My local guide. So yeah, summer in Kyiv right now.
Yeah, very hot days.
What's our plan?
So right now we're going to the to some church,
the Golden Dome Cathedral.
Yeah,
that's where we headed to.
I'm the guide here.
And so in many ways, Lisa really showed me a lot of new sides of Kyiv. I understood it much more, like the Dnieper River. I obviously knew it's flowing through here, but just seeing it from where you live, It's absolutely beautiful. We're gonna head there in a little bit as well. Many new neighborhoods I didn't know even existed. You told me that the city is actually quite like, what is it, like elevated sometimes? Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought it's like more flat. I absolutely love it. The Ukrainian underpaths, kind of like, for me, really authentic thing in the way they sell like little baked goods always. And as you see, the city is busy. It is like 6 p.m. right now, so people coming from work, going home, and that is obviously to the fact that life needs to continue. We're going to talk a little bit later. A lot of things that really surprised me that I didn't expect in terms of how people are really trying to make the best of it. Here's a huge flower shop. No matter what, love is happening. Walking into the side street of the Independence Square, walking uphill, as mentioned before, and here you really see it, the side roads of Kyiv. That's what I love about the city. You have these huge squares, these ginormous buildings, and then very sweet, very cozy side streets right in the city center. So we're approaching right now some of the main cathedrals that have been here for pretty much since the Kievan Rus. And also in the back there's the Golden Gate, very famous gate, I think over 1,000 years old, kind of like it used to be the entrance into the city. The area around there is also absolutely beautiful, super nice shops, super nice cafes, and everything, especially in Kyiv, is operating. This is something that you might be surprised by, but the thing is, people really try to continue their life, especially compared to the other cities. What I felt, Kyiv is the busiest one for many reasons. I think from all over Ukraine, people actually came here as well. So guys, real quick, in a minute we're gonna be back in Kyiv, but let me tell you about one thing. I am on the road most of the time, 5-10 countries a year, and anytime back in the day especially, I arrive in the airport, you have no connection, no Google Maps, no ability to order a taxi. Honestly, the best solution for me over the last couple of months have been Holofly eSIM, today's video partner. So the cool thing about them is you can order a data package. You don't need to change your SIM cards, no losing your old SIM card, no extending your plans. You don't know really how to do it. It's very easy. They offer unlimited data in over, I believe, 152 countries. Generally, they cover over 200 different destinations and regions, and it's very simple. You just download the Holofly app, you activate your data package, you can choose the particular date when you're going to arrive in the country. The moment you step out of the airport, you're connected with internet. Of course, you can always get a local SIM card, like Holofly also works in Ukraine, and sometimes actually Holofly is much more affordable. Like I've been recently in Asia, and I arrive in the airport, I want like 30-40 bucks for a SIM card. But generally, the best thing about it is, especially if you're there for a couple of days, you don't want to bother with a new SIM card, and unlimited data is really a game changer. So you can check out Holofly with the link below and get 5% off if you use my code Got a World to See. So just the first link actually is going to work for you. And video partners like that make it possible for me to go to different places, to take you on the ground. So obviously, if you need some data while traveling, as I said, over 200 destinations, it also supports the channel. And with that, well, let's get into Ukraine. So we are right now in front of the Golden Domed Cathedral. I would say one of the most beautiful I've ever seen. But also here is an installation of Russian destroyed military equipment. We got tanks, we got other military vehicles, and it's kind of like a memorial installation. This is, I believe, one of the ministries. So basically, very often when you're seeing news, this is where it's filmed. And like I mentioned before, life in Kyiv is continuing, but this is where you see what is happening on the front lines, which from here are fairly far away. But just walking by some of these beautiful, very old cathedrals, you're seeing this as well. So here's installations. I think, this is from Mariupol. seeing the soldiers, seeing the destroyed cities, seeing some pictures. On the other side, I have just seen that I could not show you here right now on YouTube. There is a man playing what I would obviously believe to be Ukrainian music, absolutely setting the mood. And yeah, very, very heavy installation. You know what the man is playing? What is this instrument? I've never seen it.
I don't know how it's called.
Yeah.
But it's like old Ukrainian motif,
Yeah.
melody.
Very cool. Seriously. I'm like walking around here, he's playing this music in the background.
Yeah, heavy.
Yeah. So, I think this installation has been here for quite a while. Recently I actually walked through here. There was like, I believe it was American, kind of like newscast. Some guy, didn't recognize him, but he was when the jets have been delivered to Ukraine, I believe. So yeah, the entrance here, it's maybe $1 or $2. You can go in. I've done it last time I was here many years ago at this point. So yeah, good to be back. A square that I love to walk through, but at the same time, fairly heavy. So very much so. I want to show you what is, in my opinion, the most beautiful part of Kyiv. Let's walk there. A bit of an elevation. Let's go to the descent. Andriivsky.
Andriivska church, right?
Let's go. So this building, I've never actually walked that close to it. So what is it? Ministerstvo Zakordonnych Spraw?
Yeah, it's a Ministry of International...
Foreign Affairs, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically the office of president.
All right. So maybe we're gonna...
Yeah, it was... there were an explosion in the beginning of the war somewhere nearby. They tried to bomb the office of President Zelensky. Hello.
And another very interesting sign that I've just seen is "See you in Ukraine," or no, what was it? "See you in Kyiv after the victory." So it's kind of like an informational sign. And what I was actually quite curious is, I've got a lot of questions like, can you come to Ukraine right now, and things like that. And then I looked up actually foreign visitors. So before the invasion of 22, it was around like last couple of years, I think 12, 14 million. Some years before 20 million, so let's say 10 to 20 million people. And now, last year, 23, it was 2.5 million people, actually still, and 1 million of tourist visitors to Kyiv, which kind of surprised me. Fairly large number, and as you see, like, you can come to the country only through land border, obviously. No airports are operating, so from Poland, Romania, what else is there? Slovakia? Moldova, obviously. And going in, the visa regulations are the same. Oh, there we are already.
Yeah.
Crazy, right here.
Oh.
Yeah, you wanted to go like all the way around. St. Andrew's Descent.
Yeah, so it was always very busy before the invasion, and it was like a market with different stuff, with Ukrainian souvenirs, Ukrainian Ukrainian shirts.
Вишиванка.
Вишиванka, right. There were lots of it, and lots of Ukrainian restaurants, very unique and very stylish.
But still here, right?
Yeah, some of them are, but I remember this place as a very crowded one. And
one thing you told me in Budapest, remember you did this carol?
Yeah, I used it in my stories, and you was like, why?
Yeah, why do you use this, what is it called? It's called
it's something
Carol of the
Shedrik.
Bells.
Yeah, in Ukrainian it's called Shedrik, and it's like a Christmas song, famous Christmas song. And
yeah, it's by Ukrainian composer. I looked it up. Wrote in 1914, Mykola Leontovich.
Leontovich, right.
And basically, it's a world famous song, and it was performed for the first time ever up here.
and it's Ukrainian.
I think very few people know that. Obviously, it has been like rewritten by different composers, different versions over the years, but this is the source of it. So, to me, very, very interesting. So we're walking down, seeing some really nice cafes, and what actually surprised me coming here is seeing, first of all, I always knew service, like different restaurants, coffee shops, always have been great in Ukraine, but thinking of the situation, you would think, especially in the beginning, I'm sure, like lots of places probably closed down. Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, but lots of them opened because lots of people from east of Ukraine relocated to Kyiv and to many other cities. So there are lots of new places, and the service is as good as I remember before war, and yeah, it's the best in the world.
What basically Patriot. What surprised
Okay.
What surprised me is that they're opening also a lot of new restaurants. So a lot of people relocated. Kyiv, I would say, is the busiest city I have experienced. And it's really good to see because people are really here to stay. People are living, new businesses are opening up. Obviously, some old ones you're seeing have closed down. But at the same time, I think this is like a major misconception. There is the Frontline. There is all the things you're seeing are happening, luckily fairly far away from here. And after all this time, it's actually quite amazing to see the resilience of the people, how they really continue to live their life. Everybody's aware of it. You certainly feel it in conversations whenever something happens, which is usually every other week, if not day. But at the same time, I think especially considering that hopefully sometime soon a lot of people and businesses perhaps that have left or couldn't survive, Kyiv, like I will talk about it later, I've always felt like it's one of the best, and in my opinion, a couple of years ago, up and coming cities in Europe. I've seen a lot of people even moving here, so it's really amazing to see that everything is open, or at least a lot, and operating. And obviously, okay, there's a generator. You used to hear it all the time because there used to be huge problems until a couple of days ago, really.
We don't have light at home also.
Right now? So it's back.
Yeah.
So basically the first couple of weeks that I got here, there was huge electricity outages, sometimes all day long, sometimes half day, which is, you know, you can work around it. If you live on the 24th floor, it becomes a bit more tricky, let's say. Lots of cardio involved, but you get used to these things, and luckily in the last couple of days it got a lot better. So basically a lot of electricity infrastructure has been hit, which caused a lot of power outages all over the country, really, most cities we went to.
But now blackouts are back.
They're back? So it was... okay.
Today is the first day of blackout.
So like some type of little street sign. Let's check it out, what they're selling there. So guys, you're seeing we're walking down like with a proper incline. Last time walked it up, but it's really, really worth it. So I think this is what this neighborhood is very famous in many ways for, kind of like really creative stuff, artsy stuff. People here are choosing their rings, and wow, I got some nice rings actually. Cool. Nice.
Ukraine.
Nice.
150.
Дякую. Here. Good. Guys, look at that. Oh, that's what I call a car. Don't know what happened here, but actually outside of the capital you still see them a lot. It's kind of like the only car during Soviet times, pretty much. 2-3 models. And Kyiv, very rarely see them. Obviously here it's more like of an advertisement. But yeah, but at the same time it's not like how it used to be, right? Right now. So towards down on the street, very quiet. But we're heading to another neighborhood that you showed me. You told me it's your favorite.
It was my favorite when I was young.
Let's check it out. Podil. With the giant Ferris wheel, which is fairly medium-sized. So we made it to Podil. Lisa went to Silpo supermarket. So the very famous, I told you about the giant Ferris wheel. I have to tell you, the square is absolutely beautiful. And in many ways with today's video, I want to shine some light on one side on the situation here on the ground, because as much as Kyiv shows signs of mostly normal life outside of power outages, the noise you hear is the generators we talked about, electricity. Lots of people left the country, lots of tourism is not obviously coming to the country, and there's a lot of confusion of when you see the normal shots. But for me, truly, it's amazing to see that the country is living, and hopefully, like the sign says, see you in Kyiv after the victory. This is the Podil Square. In the last couple of weeks I've been here a couple of times, especially on the weekends. Still it gets fairly busy, but from what Lisa told me is usually it's completely packed. It's maybe half of what it normally is. The guy is playing like a Scottish, how do you call those things? Tut-tut-tut. And Ferris wheel usually was not operating, is operating right now. It's pretty cool. So some government buildings, nice Radisson Blue hotel, and to talk about if you can travel to Ukraine right now in the major cities like Kyiv, Lviv, I would say it's reasonably safe. In terms of like petty crime, Ukraine always has been really safe. I feel like right now nothing changed about that from the couple of people that I talked to. It's gonna be fine, but of course there's always the risk. You never know how the situation is gonna develop. I never know how this video is gonna age, but I definitely wanted to use the chance. And while I decided to come out here, also to document the way it is right now, and of course hoping that soon the streets are gonna be back to how they used to be. And like you see, that is the thing. Like, I've been getting a lot of comments like, hey, why is there people in restaurants? Why does it seem normal? If you have followed any of the wars, like, I've obviously digged much deeper into it, especially while being here. If you look at World War II, when England has been bombed all the time, life in London continued in one way or another. People are hiding when there is an air alarm, air raid, another thing that happens very, very frequently. Luckily, usually nothing happens, but sometimes, yes, a missile strikes the city, or at least an intercepted one. The remains of it fall wherever. And the economy obviously needs to continue. Some people need to stay, work, obviously gastronomical businesses, people eating out, having drinks, whoever is here, whoever still can sustain themselves, obviously the economy needs to continue. And that's what I said about like many new restaurants also opening up. That is really good to see that not everything is on hold, especially in Kyiv and other cities not as much. You're going to see that later on. So fully stocked supermarkets. Obviously when the invasion started, I remember watching videos, people buying empty the supermarkets. That situation lasted for a while, but for now, I absolutely love the supermarkets and different produce. This is heaven. Seriously, I don't know what it is about Ukrainian ice cream, if it's the milk quality, if it's the way they make it, but no other supermarket has as good of ice cream as they have over here. I'm actually also noticing here, this Silpo, one of the major chains, is inside of a really nice old building. So very common in Ukraine is self-checkout, like obviously in many countries, but you have to say you can use Apple Pay in almost everywhere, even in like really old, like even in a metro you can use it. Tap almost everywhere. And all the way towards sunset, made it down here in Kyiv to the river port. I think right now it's not operating, right? Interesting. So Ukraine flag, US flag hanging there. So yeah, beautiful spot to take in the sunset a little bit. Again, you told me back in the day this was very busy on the weekends, right?
Yeah.
So we've been here a couple days ago, fairly quiet, but still nice a vibe.
Dancing, social dance, it's very cute.
So we filmed that in your video as well, right? So basically, Lisa has a good, nice catalog of Ukraine videos now. Go check it out.
Lisa Chaika,
biggest fan. And I would say, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take in the sunset here, and then tomorrow I wanna, today's video really, I wanna show you how it is on the ground right now, some of, let's say, the hard parts of the situation, but also very much so the beauty of Ukraine. We're gonna get to that a little bit after. So if you're ever thought, how is Kyiv, how does it look, I think by now you have a good idea. But another spot that I was very interested to visit is when the invasion started in February of 2022. Basically, there was tens of thousands of troops rolling towards Kyiv, and a couple of cities for, I believe, a month have been taken. And this is where we want to go and see how it is there right now. It has been freed for a long time already, but the destruction there and the things that happened there, let's find out about it a bit more. For now, the beauty of Kyiv.
Beautiful city.
This is actually a pedestrian bridge right there. Did Klitschko build this one?
Yeah, Klitschko built this one.
Did he build the glass bridge as well?
As well.
So I think we're gonna see each other on the glass bridge after a little expedition. I think it's gonna be a great way to go a little bit off road, go to some villages. There's a very particular plan I have in mind to go to a couple of cities that really suffered, especially at the beginning of the war, which I want to see how they are right now. And yeah, that's gonna be the transport for that. Let's hit the streets. Haven't driven ever in this country before, I think, so let's go. So guys, right now we are approaching the 3 towns that during the beginning of the invasion have been occupied. And just driving in, we're starting to see they rebuilt it heavily. It's already over 2 years ago at this point, but signs are still remaining, so it's very interesting. Let's see. Guys, so we're approaching right now the town of Irpin, and already on the outskirts what we're seeing is here is some type of building. Don't really know what it used to be. So the thing is, it's already 2 years ago, and as I can see, they're rebuilding, repainting like crazy here. These 3 towns have been, some of them completely destroyed, occupied for pretty much a month during the beginning of the invasion. And I think driving by I saw some bullet holes. I'm not sure, maybe we can ask someone, but yeah, let's go for a little walk. So this is still pretty much abandoned. Here is a building, they're repainting it right now. And yeah, this used to be pretty much active war zone at the beginning of the invasion. Broken down windows, seeing some bullet holes. Literally inside of a destroyed building right now. It looks like this place has been bombed. Some old cars standing here. So just walking down the road, on the side of it there is a truck, old marshutka, full of bullet holes. I don't know if it's still driving, probably not. Don't know how long it has been standing here, but yeah. Inside a bicycle, some kind of things, and you know what that is? That is guys, a sleepy town kiosk. And what we're finding on it is huge bullet holes taped up with tape. So just a neighborhood town selling chocolates, selling drinks. Been shot up. Back and fully operational. The best card game in the world. It's nice. So over here right now, peaceful, sunny. We have some apples growing, somebody's house, and right next to it, something that used to be somebody's house, Ukraine flag waving, and basically completely bombed a row of houses. Take off now. Yeah, it's definitely quite crazy to walk through here because most of the town is rebuilt or fixed up, but still you're seeing some destroyed houses, bullets in the old ones. But at the same time, life goes on here. 2 years after it has been recaptured, 2.5 almost. So guys, what seems like a sleepy, peaceful little town, there's people's town houses, fruits are growing, a lot of self-sustaining people living here. We are in the town of Bucha, and to be more precise, on one of the streets where during the first invasion this town was occupied. The main battle was in the town I showed you before, but basically when it was freed, the things that they found out that happened here, basically, just look it up. Bucha is very, very sad. I don't even think I could go into detail in this video what exactly happened during the month of occupation, but let's say like that. The people here suffered immensely, and yeah, just driving through these roads is truly heavy. Interesting. So, lake right next to it. People are enjoying the lake, and actually looks really nice. Here's like a, what is it called?
Tarzanka.
Like a Tarzanka.
But
you can.
It's a crazy one.
Yeah.
You hop on and jump into the water from the Tarzanka, but it's killable.
Yeah. You need to swing a lot if you want to do that. You need to swing a lot if you want to jump to the water here. And here, Szanowne Buczancy, nie skidajcie śmieci w озеро. Basically, don't throw trash in the river. In the lake. Look at that, just going down the road, and there's like basically a sign. It says mine, which basically they're saying that around here is a minefield, still probably. Especially obviously during the operations here, during the defense of Kyiv. It has been all full of mines. And yeah, don't go in the bushes, that's what it says. Tu kończy zaspał. Not sure what it is. Just drove down the road, some type of national park or something like that, and this place looks like it's a couple of decades, it's not many decades in the past. So we have this old building, you see many of them, but this kind of old cars you don't see anywhere really anymore. So it's kind of like national park, old neighborhood. Stop by to go to a little store. Let's see how life looks here.
A почему персики? 90
У тебя есть наличка? Да. found a little local shop on this street.
If you know, you know. Hot dogs, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Nowhere in the world. With exception. Walk gas station, the bread is so nice. Sausage is nice. Woo! Road trip.
Made your way into the water. Let's go down, let's check it out. And so guys, on another day, another very sunny day back in Kyiv, I just came out, went to the gym. For the first time in my life, I took like one of these electric scooters that are all over the world in most cities. For some reason, never tried them out, but today to get from one part to the other through Kyiv, through this wide road, it was fun. And now we are in one of my favorite, I would say, kind of like walking spots. I wasn't living anywhere too close by, so only 3, 4, 5 times I passed through here. So basically here is the Rainbow Arc, and a very cool kind of like pedestrian slash cyclist bridge. Cyclists have a hard time, too many pedestrians on it all the time. And basically it has been constructed under, I think, let's say the initiative of the mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko. I don't know too much about him other than he used to be a boxer with his brother, pretty much ruled the heavyweight division with their, let's say, conservative fighting style, like unbeatable for the most part. Then at the end, he lost to Fury, and now the, what is it, undisputed heavyweight belts are back in Ukraine with Alexander Usyk, which was actually kind of like a nice closing to an arc that I had as a younger boy. You know, I was watching the fight when Vladimir lost against Fury. But basically, yeah, his older brother has been the mayor for a long time. I don't know, internationally you don't hear too much about him, but this glass pedestrian bridge, I would say, adds really a nice, I don't know, like a little different dimension, somewhat modernity into, in very many ways, a very, very old city. So basically where we started earlier, the video during sunset was down there. Super cool spot to kind of like take it in a little bit. And what I wanted to talk on that occasion is also the fact that over the years I've been, I think for the first time I came to Kyiv like properly by myself was 2017. And since then I've seen it evolve, grow, and especially around 2021, I've seen a very large influx of people really from all over the world coming here, making it their base, kind of like in Europe, call it Eastern Europe if you want. But honestly, I thought really the, on one side, of course, cost of living, but even more so, very much a big city flair. It used to be connected all over the world with, you know, the airport, different airlines, fly to Turkey, fly to the Emirates. I've seen a lot of people also like with different online businesses coming to Kyiv, and I was very much considering it also like from Europe. I feel like it's one of the nicest cities, especially if you take into account the comparable costs. It's very safe most of the time. Right now outside, I think here actually nearby was a missile strike. I think I've seen it at some point. The bridge luckily went unscathed, but yeah, walking right now into the big greenery park. Definitely another one of my favorite spots, but also it's a bit of a, yeah, sad moment because gonna be leaving Kyiv soon, Ukraine soon. Really got a bit of a feeling, and there's a couple more cities I want to take you along. Odesa for sure, I haven't out filmed there yet, so maybe we'll take you along. Kharkiv, maybe you've seen it already, but yeah, basically this is the pedestrian bridge. It's super cool. Down there is another pedestrian bridge. I don't know if that one's new, but yeah. What I was also talking a little bit about is that I hope that hopefully rather sooner than later Kyiv will be back internationally. As of right now, there is a bit of an expat community, I believe, but generally you don't see many foreigners. Like I mentioned, 1 million tourism visitors, but considering such a huge city, I rarely hear any like English being spoken currently. Whereas if you're curious, if you're watching this video, I have to say that over the years, the Ukrainian, like let's say, local population, especially in Kyiv, the English becomes better and better. And people are also excited to speak it. Whenever I walk around, like I speak pretty good Russian, okay Ukrainian, I understand it for the most part. And then when people hear me speaking English, everybody wants to strike up a conversation. So that is, you're gonna be good in terms of that, for sure. So right now we are in another neighborhood, Arsenalna. Also didn't know it before, Lisa showed it to me, and it's kind of like nice, I don't know exactly when they built it, but like a really modern, nice street, nice restaurants, nightlife I believe is happening here. Another thing to mention, there's no such thing right now. There's a curfew at midnight, and after that you can only go out with like special permission. So yeah, you know, most restaurants close 10, 11, maybe latest, if it's real late these days. But we're not here for the nice streets or anything. I know that down there, something quite interesting for me at least. Let's check it out. We are right now in a bit of a different part of town, overlooking lots of Kyiv, and I wanted to come out to this monument, overall very historical area. We're gonna work our way through it, but this is basically the Holodomor monument, dedicated to the famine of I believe 1932 to 33. So basically back then, when the Soviet Union was formed, Ukraine was a republic of it. And generally this part of the world is very famous. Like Ukraine is very famous for its very fertile land. Let me just take a look at it. Beautiful. But due to that, you know, one of the most biggest kind of like things about the Soviet Union was they had certain quotas that different parts of the, let's say back then, the Soviet Union territory had to meet. And especially hard hit was Ukraine, because there were certain quotas they had to meet. So all the grain was taken away from the people and they starved. And to be in particular, to current estimations, is 3.5 to 5 million people have died. The gifts of communism at display. I actually even remember a story from my grandmother. She was saying that, yeah, her parents lived and survived through that time where, yeah, people have been homeless, people didn't have any food, and what a history, you know? Heavy to walk around. The Holodomor monument, dedicated to the millions of children victims of the Holodomor genocide of 1932-33. So Ukraine was really particularly hit. Yeah, heavy place. I made it to Pechersk, Lavra. Basically this church is absolutely legendary. Founded in, just look it up, 1051, almost 1,000 years old. Basically, if you have a good view of it, you see the river, you see these golden domed set of cathedral, and underground is a system of tunnels, a very old one. And yeah, here you're seeing parts of it. We're just right outside of it. There's a priest, and basically this is, you could say, the center of Orthodox Christianity in this part of the world. Pretty much the most important church complex, and just seeing it from any part of the city. I'm actually seeing it from the window of where I've been staying here. Absolutely beautiful. So I walked into one of the exhibitions. It's called Ukraine's Crucifixion. And basically we got pieces from the war, some of the equipment, as you see. These kind of things.
Всі речі перевезені з Гостомельського укриття. Вмикайте ліхтарик і давайте.
So in this museum is basically a reimagined situation during the occupation of Gostomel, the town we visited earlier by car, where they tried to occupy the airfield to get like further supplies in. So all of that is freed, but basically this is where a whole month some of the people in these type of conditions were, hiding. Okay, дякую. And so here we are in front of the tallest concrete monument in the world. Good bit taller than the Statue of Liberty. Back in the day, it used to have the hammer and sickle on it. They have replaced it with the Ukraine emblem. And it looks on the one side absolutely beautiful. So for the most part, this complex used to be a World War II memorial for the memory of the fallen soldiers of that time, which the amount of people has been absolutely, but as of right now it is as well. I've just walked into one of the museums. It's called Ukraine Crucifixion, which there's kind of like a reinstatement of how people were hiding during occupation of the neighboring towns of Kyiv that I've showed you, of Gostomel. And I have to tell you, just standing in front of it, it's absolutely massive. Like, if you've been watching the channel, you know, in terms of different, be it architecture, be it modern architecture, be it historical buildings, this is truly, a huge structure. And you see it pretty much anywhere where you get a view of Kyiv. You see the mother looking at you, or the back of it, depending what part of the city you're at. So yeah, there's another big museum there. Национальный музей истории Украины. Basically a history museum of Ukraine. Actually, I've been here before once. Took my mom here. Actually, there is a very limited amount of people, I believe, every day or in certain seasons that can go up, I believe, on the sword or the basically, or maybe the head, I'm not sure, basically somewhere there you can climb up all the way. And from what I've seen inside, it's kind of like first come first serve type of concept. Definitely one day want to do it. I'm sure amazing view from up there, but also here in the very back you're seeing the Lavra, the churches. Here we have a Ukrainian tank. It looks like today is very busy. Lots of tour groups, lots of people visiting, some cameras. So yeah, very historical place, full of history. And in terms of just the place, it's a little bit hard to get here actually. Like, there's no direct transportation, so either a taxi or get yourself ready for a nice walk, but truly worth visiting to understand the long history. So another thing I did after spending some time in Kyiv is going to the city of Zaporizhia. It's very close to the front line, and for me it's a special place because my grandma is living there, and just was truly special. I haven't filmed much. Overall, it's an industrial city, has its charm, and at the same time her townhouse, the good old dacha,
is a no-go zone because it's pretty much very close to the front line. Only with special permits I was not able to visit. Let's hope it's dead. Electricity.
Obviously, Stucci.
But it's like apartments. No, I'm saying we might not hear because there's like.
Здрасте. Привет.
Привет, мой золотой мальчик.
Как дела?
Хорошо, господи. А мы тебе звоним. А это Лиза? Лиза, здравия.
Eating some borscht?
Homemade.
But after visiting there and luckily at this point in my life being able to support them in some ways, we ventured out to another city that is very close to the front line.
Right now, in a fairly tricky place, the city of Kharkiv, in the very east of the country. Took the train. Actually, fairly surprisingly, all of the infrastructure within Ukraine is really operating. The trains are running everywhere, and so this is the lux cabin of one of the oldest trains I've ever seen in Ukraine. Pretty nice still, super comfortable seats. But yeah, it's like a, what is it, 9-10 hour train ride to Kharkiv. Wanna get a bit of an idea of that city. And there was a crazy air alarm that went off in the morning. Anytime I've been before in Ukraine, it always intrigued me. I've always was like, hey, there's this big city. I knew it's kind of bigger. I didn't know it's actually very significant. We're gonna talk about that in a second. So this huge structure behind me is the Держпром, which from what I understand has been built during the Soviet Union. Absolute brutal, huge structure. I don't know if they rebuilt it or repainted it, but it's gonna walk further into the Freedom Square. And a lot of people recommended not to go right now. This is pretty much the highest alert. This city has been bombed significantly. Actually, during the beginning of the invasion, they occupied most of Kharkiv Oblast, not the city itself, but really in the beginning, from what I read, a quarter of the city has been pretty much destroyed. And yeah, what Lisa just told me is that it's the second largest.
Yeah, second largest city of Ukraine after Kyiv. Yeah, big city, big universities, educational, cultural center.
But you've never been, right?
Yeah, it's my first time here also.
So yeah, just rolled in, checked into a hotel back there, had a little coffee, and I don't know, the city is fairly quiet. Prices in the city very low, like really nice hotel in the back there for like 30 euro, probably because nobody is visiting right now for good reasons. Anybody, if you say to anybody in this region, they're like, better don't go. Or, oh, there's like some party going on, let's check that out. Some old timer parties. So basically this is the Freedom Square. Yeah, one day here, there's the Kyiv Zoo, which I'm quite intrigued to check out because, again, during that time when there was a large risk of losing the city, there was problems in the zoo. It was hard to get food to the animals, and from what I read, basically they evacuated a bunch of animals, took them to other zoos. But I think it's operating again, so it is actually also quite interesting to see how it looks right now. But yeah, let me just turn around. I think you have been seeing it all along. Huge Freedom Square, very brutalist. But from what I hear is lots of churches. And yeah, I did not know this is the second largest city in Ukraine. So interesting. And I'll take you a bit through, take a couple of shots. Just one day here. Well, and the people, the old timers, nothing can stop them.
Nice Ukrainian music is playing.
But one thing you definitely have to say here in the center is that it's not busy, and most of the buildings are pretty much blocked up, the windows with wood. I'm like, infrastructure looks kind of interesting. What kind of windows are that? But then I realized Pretty much all of them are closed down, including this big government building over there. But very, very nice big square. So right now walked to the end of the street and walked into this post. And I think this is what I saw on the internet during the beginning of the war. They still keep the rocket that, I don't know if this is the one in particular, but basically a rocket hit right in the city center. This building from the far you don't see it, but basically it got heavily damaged. They somewhat restored it already. There you still see some dark signs. I think it was on that side. And I think I've been seeing a clip from this exact road when it was bombed, and basically the city center of Kharkiv really suffered. And yeah, look at that. So basically it's like a memorial they set up. I'm just trying to see what it's reading, but yeah. So from what I understand, this is like the center, the administrative center, and walking down should be the city center. But as always, it has been almost 2 years ago. I feel like the city here is getting a bit busier. My guess is that because it's kind of like administrative part, not too busy there. Some people walking by, having their wedding day. Saturday in a little side street of Kharkiv, mostly beautiful, and then you're just strolling a bit in. Заходи на кофе. Come in for coffee. Absolutely destroyed building. Here's a fairly modern high-rise. It's all next to the government building I just showed you. I don't know if it was one strike that did it all or multiple ones, but yeah, it looks like this building got hit on the roof over there. Now it must be multiple. Ooh, heavy street. Didn't expect to actually see this in the city center because I don't know if I've already included the footage from Irpin, the shortly occupied territory around Kyiv. There they have done an amazing job rebuilding like more than 90% of everything. But here right in the city center, for now, that's how it looks.
It's crazy. Bullets. Mine is coming.
So walking through the city, sometimes you get an alert on your phone. I have not installed like any applications in terms of that. Yeah. Emergency alert. Oblastna Військова
Administration?
Yeah. Відбій.
Nice. We are safe now.
Absolutely beautiful church in the park. I have to tell you, Kharkiv so far, I didn't know much about the city. It's absolutely beautiful, actually, really nice walkways and beautiful church. Looks almost perfect, besides the fact that the roof, I don't know if it's from the impact of the neighboring buildings or what exactly happened here, was partly damaged. They're fixing things up over here. But looks, it's one of the nicest churches I've seen. Look at it. So while in Kharkiv, decided to go for some authentic Ukrainian food, and I have to tell you the setting, wow, super nice. Very cute local spot on the corner. From what I hear, is something very special about the oven. They do it really old school, but the best part is, look at that. Got one of the most famous churches of Kharkiv right next to it. Looks absolutely beautiful, and I love the vibe of it. So let's go in. Let's see what we're looking at here. Nice little mural on the wall. So we got the bench seating, little tables, and the inside area. Nice too. Wow, inside it looks also very authentic. The music is probably copyrighted, so let's go out and let's order something. What do they have?
Lots of stuff, I cannot decide. I guess we'll start with kvass. It's
Nice.
fermented drink, very common in Ukraine.
Яловичі зараз є свино.
Яловичі. І половину борщу.
Теж яловичі буде?
Яловичі, так.
Окей, він йде без сметани.
So, I'm gonna be having some proper Ukrainian food here. Ordered some borscht, some soup, some kind of meat mix. Oh, what is it? Any idea? The meat?
Meat
Yeah.
is like pork, but long cooked, and it's
We'll
like
see. Ripped. Yeah? Okay, cool. And I've ordered some salad. I remember last time I was eating salad, but we got some borscht, so let's go. We're looking at some, what is it, beetroot?
beetroot kvass.
Beetroot kvass.
Heavy.
So it's like fermented, kind of like beer but without alcohol, made out of beetroot. The one we had in the other restaurant was a bit more like light. This one is,
This one is real. Now we're talking.
and some like fruit type of,
It's from dried fruits.
from
It's-
dried fruits.
Yeah, it's like a drink from dried fruits. They are boiled with some sugar, with some herbs, and it's considered as very healthy drink.
Wow. Let's believe it. Okay. А это не копченое? Okay. Wow, wow, wowie. So the borscht looks very solid, to say the least. We got some salad, got some little, what is it, pampushka, and what is this?
Pushka and palanica.
And some, what kind of soup is that? You got there?
Yushka.
Yushka.
It's just chicken. Wow, it's very good.
Yeah.
The best chicken soup of my life.
Nice.
Really, like for real, not for camera, for real.
All right, so let's try the borscht. It is a cooked borscht. You know, it's like I'm not the biggest fan of borscht, but I want to try it at every place I go to, which is not many. Very good. Like, it tastes clean in the sense that you feel the different ingredients. Super nice. So with it, we got some nice salad. Not really any sauce, so let's use this. It's not pure fat, some meat in there as well. Very nice. You get this nice bun for the borscht. We're waiting for the meat. Did they bring us the right thing? It was supposed to be like shredded. Smells good. So ran into the most type of old school market. Super vibe. What a vibe. Look at that. People selling their antiques. Got some CDs, some DVDs going.
Shadows landscape from the things I want to escape, knowing full and well I'll stay connected with my health.
And so we are, in many ways you could say, the pearl of Ukraine. Don't know if anybody ever said that, but this is Odesa, the pretty much you could say most popular town for short trips, getaways. Tourism here used to be across the board, also fairly international back in the day. It's a port city, so we have beaches, we have the vibe here is actually very different. And I have to tell you, throughout this time in Ukraine, right now this is the second visit. It's like 4 or 5 hour drive depending how fast you drive from Kyiv, and it's also one of the largest cities. What is it, third largest?
Yeah, something like
After
that.
Kharkiv, I think. Around 1 million people, is that right? Something like that. And so obviously a fairly large city, but it feels nothing like the rest. Also the energy of the people, it's a port town, it's a tourism town. People are very social, very approachable, you could say. And also in many ways, it's probably one of the most beautiful places, very distinct. So it doesn't really look similar to any other towns. It's also fairly famous back in the day. It used to be kind of like, I would coin it the Sicily of Ukraine, in the sense of, like, I don't know how many decades ago, there used to be like gangs and obviously like things like that. So it's very famous. There's a lot of, like, let's say, jokes and certain stereotypes about the city, mostly positive. Mostly it's like everybody thinks it's a cool city. But I have to tell you now, filming as of the end of August, it's a bit busier than on the first visit, but still it's nothing compared to how it usually is. But at the same time, you know, the people that are inside of the country that still want to kind of, you feel it. This is Deribasovskaya Street, the center of it. I personally, it's not my favorite street, but it's kind of like, you know, most of the things are around here, lots of restaurants. And around it, I want to give you a bit of a tour. Once again, on the one side showing you how life is on the ground right now, on the other side it's absolutely, I would say, like, it's kind of like the triangle of Ukraine in terms of the famous cities: Lviv, Kyiv and Odesa. And for living, I probably think Kyiv is the best, but for kind of like getting the vibe, and also the beaches are surprisingly better than I remember them back in the day when I visited. The thing is, I mentioned it before, still, even in this time, new businesses are popping up, new restaurants. Just walked into, very casually, very unassuming restaurant. Check it out. So it's really good to see that life is continuing. Again, it's nothing compared to how it used to be, especially when I was here, like, what was a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the first stops that I did to actually get a feeling of the country. The street here is mostly empty. Now you even see a city tour bus. Also, the Airbnb situation really changed. Like a couple of weeks back, outside of, like, right now is season, there was a lot of like Airbnbs for $30, pretty decent one. They're all now all booked out, or up to like 50, 60. So still, obviously, international tourism, as mentioned before, is 10-20% of what it used to be, but in many ways one of the most beautiful cities. So this is the Central Park, and this building here inside, I think, is not operating right now. They kind of renovated, and Odessa has been hit hard. Obviously, it doesn't have the defenses that Kyiv has. When I was last time here, I've actually been here during a strike on this city. I've heard it, I've seen it in the distance, smoke coming up. So it's part of the reality of being on the ground. You never know. Power outages again are happening here very heavily. So you hear the generators pumping, kind of like these little gas things on the side of the road to, yeah, supply the whatever shops, restaurants with electricity. So definitely one of the more dangerous places to be in this time, or of the more unpredictable ones, as we are also closer to the front line. But still, people don't let themselves get down. People are living their life, making memories. Absolutely beautiful park right in the center next to Deribasovskaya Street. That's probably my favorite part of this one. But let's get down to the port. Let me show you why it's so famous. We're right at the Black Sea. On the other side, we're facing pretty much Turkey. You don't see it, it's far, but yeah, the Pearl of the Black Sea. Wow, huh? So one thing Odessa is absolutely famous for is their different restaurants. Here I happen to walk into a Greek one, and I have to tell you, wow, what a concept. Look at that. So they made the whole roof kind of really cool. Downstairs they have an open oven, you see that? They're grilling right on real fire. Wow, it's beautiful here, seriously. Might be one of the best I've ever seen. Actually, we were planning to sit outside, but checking here is like a nice little outside terrace. Let's give it a look. And the best thing is those are like proper, like, you know, luxury restaurants in many ways, but the pricing is slightly higher than regular. Nice little terrace. I think we're gonna sit here. So we have been escorted to the outside area, and what were you just saying about Odessa? Like restaurants?
That every restaurant is like a masterpiece. Whenever you go, wherever you go. Yeah, it's a very cool concept. Now we are in a Greece kind of restaurant, and it looks insane inside, and outside there is a little yard with this flowers, fountain, and the atmosphere is just insane. And the Jewish cuisine is amazing and very popular here.
Yeah, and it's also nice to be sitting inside right now, because on the outside everywhere generators are running. Again, power outages, for a while it used to be less frequent. Now they're back to the generator game. And sometimes the generators make like a noise, kind of like a shooting noise, and everybody is paranoid. Everybody's like, oh, what? So yeah, again, the economy needs to continue, life needs to continue. Many people try as much as possible to live their life as per usual, because what you obviously don't want is for everybody to be scared to go spend a little bit of money on like a meal, and with that nothing could be working. So a lot of people are confused, is like, well, why are the restaurants operating if the country is in such a bad situation? It's like, well, it would be only even worse if everybody would kind of like capitulate and just be like, ah, yeah, let's stop, like, you know, operating all the restaurants and all the other things. Of course, tourism is very low, but, and also like most restaurants are not really full, you notice it. Capacity, usually throughout the year, you probably would need reservations in a place like that, but yeah, let's see what they have. Like unbelievable. 100 grams, and then you can get some like chicken skewers, $5. You can get a soup, $3-4. Walking down the city center, very close by, behind me, the Odesa Opera Theater, and I have to tell you, God bless. Thank you. It's like for real, the architecture, the level of the construction. I just looked it up. It was first constructed in like 1800 something. Then it was burned like 150 years ago. They reconstructed it, and truly, like, it's on the level of like a Vienna Opera Theater. I've been inside once, absolutely beautiful, and yeah. So this is it. As you see, they're always kind of like keeping it up, doing a lot of maintenance work on it. So truly, in many ways, like the cultural center of the city. Heading down to the port right now, and that's what I mean. It's like not just some building. Truly, with some better marketing over the years, hopefully, this has absolutely the potential to be like a legendary place. And also, truly world-class people are performing here over the years, from what I've heard.
Walking in the shadows, landscape from the things I want to escape, knowing full and well.
Down by the water, I'm going to show you the port in a second. We have a very nice park, but at the same time, I think at some point there was a strike on some of these buildings, and also as obviously precautionary measure, some kind of zoo there going on. They pretty much boarded up all the windows. Also, there used to be like a lot more cafes. There's like the famous Duke statue, the Duke of Odessa, also boarded it up. And we're approaching right now the Potemkin Stairs, another iconic spot. Yeah. This is the statue I've mentioned, protected in case there's going to be a strike on here. And this is the Black Sea port, one of the main ports, import-export of Odessa. From what I know, it is operating to some capacity, but The building is largely destroyed. The main tower, I think maybe it was a hotel at some point. But still, here you have the Potemkin stairs. People like to come out to take photos here. It's like a famous spot. And all the way down, you get down to the port. Random side roads of the city center. Seriously, guys, look at that architecture, that detail. An old building, not in the best condition, but we have these like statues on it. Again, a boarded up building, but the beauty of it, it's like not particularly considered like old town. It's just the center, the side roads, truly a vibe. Like Lisa over there is actually also recording a video about Odesa, and we were just talking about the fact that usually, like when the city is fairly frequented internationally, it's like it depends. Like many places in Europe are super famous for how nice they are. France, Italy, Greece, the beaches. And to be fair, like in terms of beaches, Italy, Greece cannot like it's just a different kind of beach. Like here you have the Black Sea, so obviously the water quality. Also right now, if you want to go swimming, there's sometimes signs: be careful of water mines that might be flooded in. Like if you find one,
Jellyfish.
Yeah, jellyfish in some seasons. If you find a mine, like being careful might not help you anymore. But the thing is, in terms of the cost compared to what you get, as well as just the authenticity of these kind of towns in Ukraine, you know, Odesa is probably number one in that sense. It's world class, I would really say it. And still, some people, I know of some people, they're like, yeah, like I know a guy watched a video walking down one road, a missile strikes on the other one where you could have gone as well. So there is of course a danger, statistically speaking. Bristol Hotel, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So obviously you have some nice hotels here too. Probably occupancy rate still fairly low, but who knows. Statistically speaking, I would say something happening to you, like if you're going to more dangerous countries in terms of tourism, be it South America, be it statistically something happening to you is higher than here. But still, obviously I'm not encouraging you necessarily if you don't have the adventurous spirit. But at the same time, I do know of some people coming here right now, and hopefully soon after the victory, Odesa will be a
The
spot.
most famous tourist beach town in the world.
Tourist beach town.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Behind the scenes. Very ambitious, very ambitious. So here we have some beautiful Bristol hotel. I think I've actually saw it on the map. It's definitely not on the cheap side, that's for sure. And you can tell why. Like seriously, again, the details. Wow. A little bit outside of the city is the Taras Shevchenko Park. Fairly large greenery, nothing too much to write home about, but once you go to the water, you get these super epic kind of like parks with monuments. People are maintaining everything here. Some type of monument that says to an unknown sailor 1960. Not sure what it is, but what I like about these type of monuments is they have this eternal fire burning. So basically this never goes off, maybe with a few technical exceptions, but hopefully not. Yeah, very, very cool. And we got the sad vegan. Very cute man.
I give money, animal give me love.
What a change of vibe. We are by the beach, one of the main beaches, the first beaches in pretty much the coast is fairly far. Like there's another very kind of like busy area called Arcadia, party, nightlife. Again, right now there is no such thing, but like all along the coast, as I said, some fairly nice beaches, some nice kind of like beach cafes. They put up some things to lay down on. Nice smell. Some people are fishing, and the reason the energy is so crazy here, the music, lots of people, is there is a kind of like a dolphin zoo show type of thing, whatever it may be. So kids are going crazy around here, and I kind of like it because it's fairly famous. I think over there is the public beach. We'll take a look at that. Some men are doing fishing over there, and yeah.
Very cool place for fishing. It should be professionals. We should ask for a fish.
For a fish, yeah. Let's see. Maybe in his bag. So the thing is, actually, right now is summer. So very, very hot. 30-degree plus, can even get more, much more. Like 35 sometimes. But the thing is, in winter, it gets really cold. So actually, sometimes even like the beginning of the water kind of like freezes down. Well, right now, you can imagine the smell right now, a little bit like
Seaweed.
Yeah, seaweed smell. And like I said before, depending on the season, the water sometimes is more clean, less clean. But generally, for the most part, it's definitely swimmable. And actually, last time I was here on the beach a couple of weeks ago, the water was actually pretty clear. Surprisingly, like a really nice beach establishment. But yeah, a couple of these things. City center is there, kind of like half an hour walk, 40-minute walk.
You don't like it?
No, it's a sure, you know.
Yeah, and without cheese. But cheese is very cool. It's cheap.
Yeah, that stuff there is sick. Some like beef cutlets, puree,
Puree?
mashed potatoes basically, with
Mashed green peas.
spinach or something. Oh, mashed green peas. Okay. Here's some kind of meat
Adjika.
type of thing. Super nice. Дякую. Сменим. Ooh, and another absolutely super unique concept. What is it? Mama Liga? Mama Liga. Let's go. So basically, just a completely newly open restaurant. Been here only a couple of weeks ago in this city, and it's kind of like traditional Ukrainian food with a bit of a twist, right?
Yeah.
Like it was not mashed potatoes, it was mashed peas. And
Mashed potatoes is not the Ukrainian dish. They cook with local products, and they cook the cuisine of one part of Ukraine. So just one part have a large variety of dishes, very unique. It's Bessarabia. It's near Odessa. So yeah, very simple food, I would say, like what we eat. We eat some porridge with some cheese, with some sour cream, and it's the dish. But it's cooked very good. So it's, yeah, I like it.
it was good, it was good.
Yeah,
And what was the total? Like $20 tip on top for like 3 solid dishes. Nice. Huh?
4 dishes.
Yeah, one was appetizer.
Yeah.
The Golden City. I just made that up. Guys, I don't know how this whole Ukraine shooting turned into literally a cross-country trip. I've been here for a good few weeks, but mostly I've spent my time in Kyiv by, like, let's say, in terms of how the city is protected, many consider it the safest. But realistically speaking, all the way in the west, obviously, very far from the front line, are some cities that have been, to some extent, minimally affected. You maybe hear the background noise. The generators are back on. Electricity is falling out once again. But we are in a city that luckily hasn't suffered too much. You told me a lot of people actually moved here during the war.
From Kyiv and other cities.
Yeah, imagine living in this city, right?
Yeah.
Imagine like how cute it is to grow up, to raise a family here. I mean, not, you know, no family, no family planning.
I know everything you're talking about.
Yeah? You do? Why?
Because I was born here.
Oh, shit!
Yeah.
So we are.
Used to be so young and free, but now I'm bound by the bonds
in Lisa's hometown right now, the town of Chernivtsi. All the way in the west, very close to the Romania border, pretty close to another very huge hub, the city of Lviv. Honestly, I've never really liked Lviv that much. It's one of the most beautiful cities, one of the most western cities. I think it used to be part of like different empires, so there's a lot of like, from what I think, like Polish, Austro-Hungarian, right?
Yeah, mostly
Influences.
Polish.
If you want to say anything wrong now, I'm gonna be fried in the comments, I'm sure. But here, I have to say, when I first came here, I was like, wow, it's kind of like a smaller vibe Lviv, but without all the tourism hassle and anxieties. It's, you said it became even busier in the last like year or two.
Yeah, it was pretty chill all the time, but war started and many people relocated to Chernivtsi because it's considered as the safest city. Wait.
Let's go, we have 2 seconds. No, I'm kidding, don't. So yeah, you basically, what is it, lived here all your life pretty much?
Till 16, yeah.
And then you moved to Kyiv.
Yeah.
And I have to say, what I was just saying is that in many ways I was extremely surprised by the fact that a fairly small town, you told me like 300,000 population roundabout. So for Ukraine it's like mid-sized city, but again, in terms of like how the streets look, how much there is going on, how many different like restaurants there are here. And like I said before, this is one of the least affected parts of the country, only in terms of like energy infrastructure. Like there was no hits here.
No hits.
Like it's not really a target, luckily, or maybe whatever. Let's heavily hope it's gonna stay like that. But it's a super beautiful city in many ways. Like we have a big square, lots of really old kind of like very European buildings in the sense there's so much detail in them. On the roofs you have different statues. Lviv looks somewhat similar, but here is a little bit cuter, a little bit old school still. You see some older buses riding around. And yeah, I think in this video I haven't talked about it. Like how did your life look when the war started? We didn't know each other back then.
Yeah. So I was in Kyiv when everything started, and it was a super hard and difficult time for everybody because no stability, you don't know for how long it's gonna.
Well, the first day when it happened, like what did you do? What did you left the first day or?
Yeah, I left in the evening on the first day, me and my sister.
In February, right?
Yeah, 24th February in the evening we were leaving Kyiv, and it was very difficult because first of all very long quiz on a gas station because everybody was buying gas.
Yeah.
So the road to the Chernivtsi, instead of 8 hours, took us more than 24.
And then how long did you stay here before you left Ukraine?
Months.
1 month?
Yeah.
And then you left, yeah?
And then I left.
Whew, yeah, well, the first time I heard that story, it's quite, you know, lived here through the beginning of the war. I remember I was in Thailand at that time, and nobody could believe it. I think people on the ground as little as people abroad. You hoped things would calm down quickly, but here we are 2.5 years later. But enough, I would say, heavy stories, unless you got some. Always,
just ask me.
No, like genuinely in many ways I think I filmed in many different cities, and obviously it's a very heavy topic, it's a very complicated situation. It's not, but you have to appreciate cities like that. Like when you told me about your hometown, I was like, yeah, we can check it out, I'm sure. Like I love this small town. Like for me it's like two extremes. Either it's a big city where I'm like, wow, it's livable, or show me the smallest, weirdest town where life is like 50 years ago. Like those are kind of like what I like. And I have to say, I did not expect like Chernivtsi, in my opinion, to be better than Lviv. So what I'm talking about is here. It's one of the main squares right now we're passing through. Unfortunately, the generators are on, so I cannot film for too long. It's gonna get really loud in a minute. But super nice shopping promenade. Super nice vibe in the city. It's fairly small, cozy. And yeah, a lot of people relocated here. So if ever you get the chance to visit, put this city on your list. Chernivtsi. You gonna make a video about it?
Sure.
Show them this city. It's really Да, проходи. Here, look at that, guys. Come to Chernivtsi, find the wife. This one's busy. Guys, I mean, look at this. Brand new pizza place.
We were in this place in Odesa.
Yeah. Mimosa, right?
Yeah.
Hello. Like I said, they're a bit on the younger side, but coming up. Что тут?
Декілька фото вам назад.
Что тут?
Декілька фото.
You speak?
Photo and newspaper for you.
Photo and newspaper?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Present.
Oh, but where's me? Only the girl, huh? I see you guys. I see you. Thank you.
For real? Like
Yeah.
for real? For
Yeah.
real? For real? Oh,
You love that, huh?
oh my god, I look nice.
Oh, beautiful.
So cute.
No, I'm standing there. They're like, we're taking a photo. You're running off. They're taking a photo of you.
Yeah,
Cute.
yeah,
You're like, ha ha.
yeah.
I stay there and I talk to people. Chernivtsi Gazeta.
Yeah, always dreamed when I was a kid to be in Chernivtsi newspaper.
Dreams come true. Gotta work.
Story about this cafe. It's the oldest cafe on this street. It's called Vidinska kaviarnia, which means Vienna coffee, and it's crazy good. It always was the best, and it was the only one for a long time in the whole street, and everybody was crazy about this place. And now it's still there. I think we can see the year. It's 2000. Yeah.
Wow.
In 2000 it was open. And for almost 30 years it's operating here.
Looks very cool. So many nice cafes here. It's crazy. Well, like mid-sized small town. But you said it's like a business town from your perception, like a family business. Heavy.
Family business, yeah. Lots of people have some kind of business, small or big, or yeah. And restaurants, cafes, it's like cultural thing here. Many Jewish lives here, so that's why the city is considered as rich.
And also, I don't know why, but you do notice this city is like, let's say, the most colorful one I've seen so far. Maybe you don't notice, but like this green building, yellow one. So yeah, this is basically kind of like the main promenade. Around there are a couple of smaller streets. We'll walk in there, but really the city is famous for its university, right?
Yeah.
Is it
university?
old
UNESCO,
building, right?
Yeah.
But generally, historically speaking, like most people come to Lviv to kind of see this type of vibe.
Architecture.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, it's always or often cities you don't really hear about. I've never heard of this city before, and surprisingly, I would say is my top 3: Kyiv, Odesa, and then Chernivtsi. Yeah, and then probably Kharkiv.
Zaporizhia?
Lviv is better than Zaporizhia, I have to give it that.
Okay.
So yeah, the top 5s. Going to your home?
Yeah, welcome to my village. I'm a village girl.
There we go. Let's fucking go. Whoa, let's go.
Woo!
What do you feel?
How old it is!
What do you feel?
How old it is!
Yeah, probably older than you.
Yes!
Oh my god. Well,
Got a world to see.
damn right. Calm down.
So the last town I have visited, from center to east to the Black Sea to the west to leave the country, was the city of Lviv. And while it's one of the safer cities to be because it's so far in the west, still to this day, it is a target for missile strikes.
And so, I'm right now in probably the most internationally, next to Kyiv, for tourism city, all packed up here, rocking it solo. This will be a city, the last city I'm visiting in Ukraine on my way out. One of the cities that back in the day I visited a lot. It's very close to the Polish border. It's a beautiful town, long history, very well maintained, and usually it's also like kind of like the most touristy, busy. I have like an hour or two here. I've been many times, honestly. You know, I always want to keep these videos honest with you in the sense that for tourism, it's one of the best places, but for me also one of the most kind of boring ones. It's the most meet some tourists here, because even some people that I know have been visiting Lviv in the last year. Beautiful town though, you cannot say anything. Probably one of the most beautiful in Europe. Let's get into the city center. Let me give you an idea, and from here on out I will be also leaving the country. We'll be hopping on a bus to get into Poland, because obviously there's no flights coming in or out of Ukraine. So that's the most tricky part about coming here, but still not too hard. Like within a couple of hours you can be in Poland and then fly out. So let's get into the city. Beautiful. And so we're approaching right now the city center, one of the main squares with the famous Lviv Opera Theater. And today I'm just getting a chance to walk through it a little bit. Actually, when first arriving, this was also one of the first entering spots when I came to Ukraine. So got a bit of a feeling of the city. Generally, it's a place many people since the war started relocated here, as it's the closest to Europe, pretty much. I mean, it's as far as it gets from the Frontline, basically. And what I wanted to mention is kind of how all the different cities, the major cities in Ukraine, have a very different vibe, energy about them, almost like culture. So here people speak pretty much purely Ukrainian. Like, they might understand you in Russian. Like, there's other cities people speak much more Russian, but you know, it's a language. A language is not, it's a tool of communication. It's some parts of history, like, you know, many parts of the world speak French. The reason why you're listening to this in English is because the British were doing busy things, but many countries that speak English are not British by, you know, it's just a language, it's just a tool. And here, Ukraine, also because of a fairly rich history, which is much closer tied to like other, you know, historical times. The architecture looks quite interesting here right now. Wow, I just turned around, you've probably seen it already. Absolutely beautiful opera theater. And I would say Lviv is extremely famous for its old town. Very well preserved, amazing cafes, restaurants, and life here pretty much, I would say, the most out of all of Ukraine. I don't know if they have power outages as well. They probably do at points, but yeah, very easy accessible through the Polish border. For that reason, it's also kind of like for many people the spot to leave the country, or through Romania, Moldova. Wow. I've mentioned it before, somehow it became a cross-country trip. I didn't even mean to. There was a couple of places I wanted to see how it is, and I would say let's wrap up the experience, in many ways the adventure, the very eye-opening time around here. One of the best ice creams in the world, the Ukrainian. One of the last for this trip.
So leaving and entering the country is pretty much as per usual. It is in some ways open to tourism. If you want to visit, there's the usual visa regulations in place, visa free for many countries like it always was. Depending on the border, the one close to Lviv and Poland sometimes is very busy, like the time when I was there. It literally spent like 10 hours crossing the border, whereas the border with Moldova, which I've crossed previously to visit that country as well, was very fast and very easy. It takes 20 to 30 minutes, so maybe keep that in mind. If you want to enter, it's easier through Romania or Moldova. Poland usually is much more busier. But with all of that being said, I want to leave you with a couple more thoughts, a bit of a personal story, and generally a wrap-up to this whole Ukraine experience, and this time I was, lucky enough to spend in this beautiful country.
Heavy waters. I used to be so young and free, but now I'm bound.
And I wanted to visit for a long time since the war started. Obviously, especially in the beginning, it was highly not advised. At this point, I think I've mentioned it before in the parts about Kyiv, that surprisingly there's still, what is it, 1 million visitors in Kyiv or in Ukraine last year. So obviously nothing compared to what it used to be. In terms of if it's safe to come, it's obviously not safe to come. Statistically speaking, compared to other destinations that are genuinely, like, let's say, dangerous in terms of maybe like petty crime, things like that, Ukraine is very safe. It's kind of like a tight country. Most cities, nothing really happens like on a small level, obviously, for forever pretty much. I think Ukraine has so much potential in terms of, I would say, mostly the people. Like, always I've perceived the people here to be very hardworking, very sharp, intelligent, and especially in the last couple of years, maybe the last decade, you've really seen that the youth of the country is really orienting itself towards the outside world, international world. Most people speak pretty good English, and I thought there's a great future to come, because obviously after the fall of the Soviet Union, and obviously also during it, it was full of corruption, full of and once it fell apart, like, people grabbed their pieces that they could get. And that's why this part of the world never pretty much has been as successful as the rest of Europe, even though especially Ukraine has so much going for it. And like I mentioned before in the Kyiv part, I still believe, like, demographically speaking, a lot of people have left the country, and it's tough for many people. Many people had to leave. And the thing is, it has been going on for so long at this point that, of course, whenever something big happens, which is every other week, it is in a news cycle. But when it first started, everybody posted the flags. There was a lot of attention on it. Of course, that positively affected the international support, which has been huge, which I also think is a big part of why the country is still, let's say, functioning to some extent. But you have to say, like, honestly, in terms of adoption of technology, like, you can pretty much pay with Apple Pay everywhere, even at like small stands. Everything is working in terms of like trains, electricity outages. Of course, there's not much you can do if an electricity station gets bombed and somehow you need to reroute from one place to, you know, that is what it is. And in some ways, these last couple of weeks have been filled full of sad moments, but also I've seen the country like I haven't seen it before. I've went to cities that I've never even heard of, like I mentioned before, and I've seen the beauty of this country even more than before. So thank you for joining me along today. This was for me also in many ways. Yeah, if you are interested in Ukraine, share it with a friend. If you ever wanted to visit, you have to obviously weigh out absolutely the risk for yourself. Many people do, like, relatively speaking, very few to before, but surprisingly, I did see a good amount of internationals on the ground. And it's an interesting time, you know, if you are into adventure travel, you're truly gonna, in some ways, like I said, some parts of the life, if you don't watch the news, it might seem normal. But on the other hand, while I was on the ground, I have seen a few explosions out of the window, far away, but still, it's a surreal experience. It makes you reflect a little bit on the history, obviously, especially of this continent, but the world really. If you are lucky to live in a part of the world where you only see all these conflicts and wars on TV, then it seems like an abstract concept. You don't really know how is it on the ground. And obviously there's different types of conflicts. There is sometimes situations where completely the whole society is broken and nothing really works and chaos breaks out. And I think this is also a testament to the people that it's still somehow working. Life somehow is continuing, and truly nobody that I have talked to here nobody's pessimistic about it. People are saying we're gonna endure, we're gonna make the most of it. You know, just talking to my family even here, my grandma, my aunt. There's also a big reason for why I go out into the world. You know, if you know me, my background, I've always grew up in a low-income family. It was always tough, but I've been given chances. So my family immigrated to Europe. From there, I've been living in the US, and I've always felt like whenever people were complaining about, let's say, you know, the opportunities, they're so competitive in Central Europe, in a country where the world is at your feet, if you see it like that. So that's back then. I did all kinds of different jobs, started to do some online content, some online businesses. YouTube is one of the things that I do, and one of the things that allowed me to, yeah, come and visit my family. And whatever I make in a week for them, like they stopped doing renovations at home. That was also one of the reasons why I wanted to come back, to support them directly with what for me is nothing huge, but for them, hopefully they'll finish the renovation. Like you have seen before a little bit in the coverage that I did, I covered the bad, the effects of the war, but even more so, I also at the same time, as kind of conflicted inside of me it was, I wanted to show the beauty and the resilience of the country, the people, and hopefully at some point be able to shoot my regular go-to content where I share with you the benefits of certain places for travel, maybe for remote living. This is mostly what my channel has been about, and in many ways I'm also even more grateful and feel even more responsibility to help my family in bigger ways than just some money. Help the country, hopefully soon, in terms of documenting all the amazing different cities. Each city that I visited for a couple of days over the last couple of weeks deserve a video in itself. From what I understand, there's mountains in this country that, yeah, I hope you can visit one day sometime soon. And so, on that note, Slava Ukraini, and see you in the next one.